When it comes to transformation, you can do so much inner work, and sometimes there's like still this heaviness that you can't really seem to shift, or you might feel like everything's going so well, you've resolved a lot of trauma from your past, the way that you feel about things, you've resolved some negative thought forms, whatever it is, a lot of work goes into that. And then sometimes there can be moments where it feels like the wheels have come off, and it can happen out of nowhere. And so there's a lot of reasons for why that can be, but it might not necessarily be you or something that you need to fix about yourself to change that. And why I say that is because you are made of light, and these light waves in your energy field are broadcasting all the way around you, and you're interacting with this larger electromagnetic space. And within that, this is what I want to talk about today, is the entities, the nefs, the negative entity forms, which is what NEF stands for, some shadow energies, things like the Fae, and other things that are in this electromagnetic field too, earthbound spirits, all that sort of stuff, that impact you. And because we cannot perceive the electromagnetic field around us, some of us can, but not everyone can. But you're still interacting with this on a daily basis. You can only perceive less than 1% of what is around you through the spectrum of light. Everything else in that broader electromagnetic field is unknown to you, but you are interacting with it all the time. So I want to share with you today what's in this field, how it affects you, and what you can do about it. Why it's there to begin with anyway? Who put it there? Why is it here? you know? So it's actually probably going to be a really big episode. I'm doing a lot of ad-libbing today, so we're going to see how that goes. And if this is something that you want to know how to influence and change in terms of your environment within that electromagnetic space, I'm going to put a link in the description box for a workshop I'm hosting in June, all about alchemy and how you can do that for yourself, for some of those maybe heavy patterns and programs that have been really difficult for you to change. Heavy emotions, negative thought forms, all that sort of stuff, so that you can start alchemizing and transforming all of that into much higher frequencies for yourself. And you can do the exact same thing for your space where you live. I can teach you how to do that too. So I'm going to put that link in the description box. And yeah, let's dive in. Welcome to Unmasking the Magic, where the mystical meets the practical and fuels your success. I'm your host, Sharyn Atkinson, and I'll be your metaphysical maverick on this journey, where every week we'll pull back the curtain to reveal how concepts such as intuition, manifestation, and the quantum field, and pretty much everything else otherworldly, can help empower you to reach new levels of success, meaning, and fulfillment in business, career, and life. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and empowered, and let's unmask the magic together. Okay, so the electromagnetic field around you, what is in this space? A lot of stuff. And for me, I've been interacting with the spirit realm, or the electromagnetic field that's around me, since I was 7 years old, and it used to freak me out. And I used to tell, like growing up, I used to tell my friends that our house was haunted, and I thought that for a very long time. Like until I moved out of home, I thought the house was haunted. And it turns out that the house is not haunted, because there's no really such thing as that, but more that I can perceive the electromagnetic field around me, and I can perceive the different entities within it, to varying degrees. So sometimes I might see them, sometimes I can sense them, or hear them, depends, it's all different, But So yeah, the house has never been haunted. It's just me. I can perceive some stuff. I can perceive what's in the field around me. And as a child, it really used to freak me out. So I'm fascinated with what is around us and how it influences us. And so some of that space is, yes, there are like earthbound spirits that are around us. And earthbound spirits are just like normal people walking around. They're not confined to a place that they passed away. Think about that. How boring would that be? You know, kind of, you're not confined to like the building you passed away in, or you're not stuck in a paddock somewhere if you fell off a mountain. You can do as you please when you're in the spirit realm, because there's no boundaries, there's no limit to where you can be. And I have seen when I've done property clearings for my clients that they can sense that something's a little bit off, something's not quite right in their home. And usually it's because their children are all of a sudden freaked out, or they don't want to do something, or they're scared to go in certain parts of the house, or they can't sleep, they won't sleep in their own room. All this sort of stuff goes on, and their parents cannot make sense of it. And I understand exactly what these children are going through, because I went through it as a child. Too scared to go to sleep at night, leave the lights on, I don't want to be in the dark, I want to go sleep with mum and dad, I'm not sleeping in my own bed, all that sort of stuff, you know. And so I get it. I understand what these kids are going through. And so earthbound spirits, you can be at the local shopping centre and or at the supermarket, the petrol station, wherever it is. You can be anywhere, and a spirit can decide that they're going to follow you home. And just because they like you. Or I had one client, she had a spirit follow her home because he thought that she looked like a really good mum. She had, her children with her, and he thought, wow, like she's a good mum. He didn't have that upbringing. He wanted to go and see what it was like to be part of a normal family. So he literally followed them home. And when I was doing the property clearing, it actually kind of makes me laugh because he was trying to hide. And he was standing against a wall in her house, like, if I just stand here like a statue, she's not going to see me. You know, like in the movie Jurassic Park, if you don't move, then the dinosaurs can't see you. It's like he was doing that. What is this? I can still see you, you know. So we had a conversation, and I helped him cross over. But very funny. So earthbound spirits, they can get confused. If someone passes away and they've had dementia, um, they can get confused. And they can get confused about where they're supposed to be. Some of them don't even really know that they've passed away, which I find a little bit sad. So I've helped a few spirits who've had dementia crossover as well, and children. Children will follow other children home. Earthbound spirits, that is. Children follow other children home because they want to play, they want to have some friends, they want to have a good time, and they can get stuck, they get lost, they don't really know where they are, and they don't know how to get to where they need to be either. And they can hide, like in homes and things too. So, earthbound spirits, they just move around. They like you, they're going to follow you. No one has to have died in your house, but you can still get the heebie jeebies. And like I remember when we bought our house, I had the heebie jeebies, like, ooh, what's going on in here? You know? So I cleared the house of entities and things. I did that, which is a really interesting experience too. But earthbound spirits are not confined. It's moving energy. Energy can go wherever it pleases. It is what it is. So be aware of that. And there's also, what else? Okay, yeah. So the other entities, earthbound spirits, actually kind of been guided to share with you the different entities that I've encountered during a particular property clearing that I did for a client. And this clearing I did for her because she had adult children, or older teenage children living with her, and one of her daughter's friends came over and ran out of the house screaming because she saw something in her daughter's bedroom, and she just bolted. Like, it freaked her out, and no one else could see it. And but she was insistent that there's something in that room. I just had to leave. So I did property clearing for these people, and I found some really interesting things. So Earthbound Spirit was one of them, but he wasn't the problem. He was playing cards in the lounge room. And in this, her daughter's bedroom, there was like a couple of things going on in there. So one of the things was the Fae. So like the whole fairy realm, the fairies, pixies, all that sort of stuff, which I didn't actually believe were real. I thought that was all made up, like fairy tale type of stuff. But turns out it's not. Like, this stuff is real. And I actually, so I was clearing this girl's bedroom, and behind the bed, there was like this little guy who was like little. And I'm like, okay, what's this? Who is this? Behind the bedhead. It was very interesting. No idea who this was, what this was, because it wasn't a person. And having a conversation with him, and he had fallen in love with her daughter's hair because he loved the way her hair smelled. And he followed her home because he loved the smell of her hair. I'm like, oh, okay. And all I could see was like the bush. I could see that he was from bushland, and he just fell in love with her shampoo, it must have been, and followed her home because he wanted to smell her hair like while she was sleeping. So very cute, but kind of creepy as well. And he didn't really belong there. But that was actually a brownie, which I didn't know about until I had to go and Google what this was that I saw. He looked like that, but he wasn't wearing a hat. This is just a little picture that I have of a brownie. But very sweet, like he has such a sweet face. But under his hat, he has big ears. Like, not proportioned ears, like a larger ears than we normally do. But yeah, this little guy, he fell in love. It was so cute. But he didn't belong there, so he had to be relocated. And I see it actually quite a lot with the fae, like fairies, brownies, pixies. Fairies and pixies I've seen in little girls' bedrooms. They're very protective. They've got jobs to do. So interesting. But this stuff is real. And if you feel things are a little bit off and all that sort of stuff, it can be for any combination of things. It could be an earthbound spirit, could be one of the fae, or it could be a shadow entity that's in there as well. And so shadow entities are really interesting. They are, I don't really want you to think of them as like ghosts and stuff, but or like a demon or anything else. Let's just call them shadow entities. They're real. And in this same woman's girl's bedroom, she had, and I've seen a few of these in different properties that I've cleared. She had an entity, and I can describe what they look like. I don't know what they're called. I can't give you a name of this specific type of entity. But I can tell you what he looked like, or it looked like. And it was black. Just like solid blackness. And it sounds very, very cliched, but it had red eyes. And But it is what it is. This is what I've seen in multiple properties. And they are not nice. The cool thing, what I really like about the electromagnetic space and the spirit realm is that they can lie to you, but energy cannot lie. So if you get the heebie-jeebies, you get a bad vibe from something, it's because it is lower vibrational. In that realm, they don't lie. They might not say anything, but you can feel the energy of it or them or whatever it is, and you know that it is not good. You can tell very, very easily. Your body will let you know what's going on in the spirit realm. You don't need to fear any of this stuff, by the way. You just don't need to interact with it. But in this particular house, it was the first time that I'd come across this particular entity. And I asked it like what it was, and it laughed. And I asked it what its name was, and it said Jason, and then it laughed again. And then it just said you wouldn't be able to pronounce it. I'm thinking, okay, that's it. I'm done. You need to go. And so me and like my team of spirit guides that I work with, we cleared this entity, and it's so interesting. It's like these particular entities seem to be like anchored, like into the ground beneath structures. And I don't know why I'm telling you this. Maybe you know what this entity is and you can let me know in the comments. I have no idea what it is, but I've seen a lot of them. And when we clear them and transmute them, which means like we're converting this shadowy energy into light, into higher vibrational energy. But when we clear them, I can see like a band that is anchored into the earth beneath them, and it stretches like a rubber band, an elastic band stretches, and it does break. Like when they're transmuted, that breaks, and they leave the property. Really interesting. No idea what they are, but there's a lot of them, and they're not nice. Like they lie. They lie when you ask them questions, and really don't need to ask them questions. They just need to leave because they don't belong there, and they're disrupting the environment of the people who live in this house. And so all of a sudden, like you can feel very sad if you have these types of entities in your house. And another property I saw these entities too, like the husband, he had seen one in his house, and it had rushed towards him while he was lying in bed. And I cleared two of them from his house, and they were both again like anchored into the earth beneath his property. And I have no idea what they are. I don't need to know. All I know is that they don't belong there and they need to leave. But these entities were creating a lot of disharmony, like a lot of arguing, a lot of tension. Kids don't want to go to sleep. The kids are scared. Kids fighting. Everyone's fighting. It's that kind of atmosphere. They can really like bring down, and this is their job. You got to remember, this is their job. They operate in a band of energy. It is their job to make you feel a particular way, and they create that in a house. And this particular property where I cleared two, I think they might have had 5 children or something. So a lot of arguing in this particular house. You've got mum, dad, 5 kids, all arguing. No one wants to go to sleep. People are scared. It's all happening. And then, but like this particular family had said to me that, like magic, they all started getting along, and which is really cool. So they all started getting along. Children started sleeping in their own beds. They're not scared of anything. They didn't know that the house was cleared. They had no idea. And they just feel different. You feel different in your own space. You might get a sense of that feeling that, you know, of being watched. If you have that feeling, you probably are being watched. That's not to frighten you. That's just to your body's way of letting you know, hey, there's something else in this room with you. Pay attention because you can do something about it. And I'm not saying like, you need to call me and I can clear your property. If you want to, I can. That's no problem. But this is something that you can do yourself because it's your space. You're designed to do it. You're an electromagnetic being and you have free will choice over your body and you have free will choice over the space you live and the people who are in it. So if you're with someone or say you're married and you sleep next to them every night in bed, your electromagnetic fields are both open and there's a lot of energy exchanging going on with the people you live with. So if you don't want to experience negative entities jumping from them into you, it's like praying for the other person when you decide to clear their energy field. It's like praying for them. And you're able to do that because you do not want to allow them into your space, into your life, into your home. And you can clear those energies as well. Regardless of anyone tells you, you can do that because they can impact you. Anything that impacts you directly, you have influence over. It's still nice to check, It's still nice to check with your partner, or check with their higher self. Can I do this? I can kind of pick up, I think there's something here. Can I clear it? And get confirmation first. Because you're probably going to get a yes. It's always nice to ask as a common courtesy, but you can absolutely do that. Pray for people is like clearing energy for them. So do that too. That's quite nice. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, the other energies that can be around you. Yeah, this is really interesting, actually. Okay, so earthbound spirits, there's some shadow energies. There are these other types of energies that I have seen that, because I'm willing to perceive what is in a space, regardless or beyond what I think I know is there or what I expect. Beyond what I expect to see, I'm willing to see whatever's there, Show me, bring it on. I want to know what's here. And so sometimes, it's very random. Anything that doesn't belong in a particular area is a bit strange sometimes. And I've seen this as can be dots, like little balls, or polka dots, left in places. And this is usually imprinted energy from people. And it can be especially sneaky energy in a house. I cleared some of these dots out of a client's wardrobe, and she said, in that spot when she first moved into the house, under the carpet in this spot in the wardrobe, she had found some really old bank statements. So there was some hiding of stuff going on in there, and she doesn't know what else was hidden under the carpet. She couldn't find anything, but yeah, really interesting. So sneaky energy, anything sneaky you're doing in your home, you can leave an imprint. And even and some of the things that we create unconsciously or we're just unaware of that we're doing that impacts our environment, I find a little bit amusing. And I remember I had one client and I was clearing her property and I said to her, I don't know what it is, but it feels like someone hates a wall in your house. You walk through the door and then it feels like there's a wall on the left that someone hates. And she goes, yeah, that's me. She said, it's not a wall. It's more like a wall unit that her husband had built to divide a room. I went from the floor to the ceiling, this wall unit. She hated it. And I could tell she just hated it. It's like this feeling of hate when you walk into someone's house. I could tell it was there. I'm like, oh, that's a bit funny. What's that? And so I had to clear the energy off this wall unit. It's like cursing something. If you have something in your house that you don't like, get rid of it. Don't walk past and go, I hate that couch, I hate that chair, this house is terrible, these windows need to be painted. Because you're contributing, you're planting negative energy around your house. It's like you're walking around cursing stuff, Just so you're aware. Even cushions on a chair. I've cleared properties. I don't go to a property when I do a clearing, by the way. I do all of this remote viewing, but I was clearing a property for a lady, and I could tell that her husband did not like the cushions on the chairs in the kitchen. Hated them. Something about those cushions that he was not a fan of. Just interesting. Like, you can clear it, but, be mindful of what you're thinking and feeling about your own house. If you really don't like where you're living, move if you're in a position to do that, because it's like filling your space with a whole bunch of negative energy that you are surrounded by all the time. And that is going to, it influences you. If I can walk into someone's house like remotely and pick up on that someone doesn't like the cushions on a chair, or they've done something sneaky. I can tell if children sneak out of a house. I can tell all sorts of stuff. Children sneak, like I cleared a property for a gentleman, and I could tell. I started laughing. I knew that his daughter had already left home, but I said, I can tell your daughter used to sneak out through the laundry door at night time. And he said, yeah, she did. And she used to do that, and she got busted. But so funny. Everything you do in a space leaves an imprint. You imprint energy on everything. And when you walk past an object or there's something in your house that you don't like, you imprint it with that. And it can start to fall apart. You can start to have problems with it. It affects things very negatively. And if you've ever seen that, like Dr. Emoto did an experiment with contaminated water from, I think it's Lake Fujiwara, the Fujiwara Dam, maybe, something like that. And he took this water out of contaminated water from the dam or the lake, whatever it was, and he had this intention that he could clear this water through prayer. And that was the whole idea. He wanted to see if this was a thing, if this could happen. And it did. Like, I think it was given to, might have been like a monastery or something. And they prayed over this contaminated water and it cleared. And Dr. Emoto wanted to see, well, what else can I do with this? Like, what else is this about? And he did all these different water crystal experiments, and he had different jars filled with water, and one jar might have been, for example, like the intention of love, and the feeling of love was kind of prayed over this jar. And then in the other jar, the person, like, say, sent a lot of hate. So love and hate, you might have had two separate jars of water. And then he froze the water and looked at the ice crystals that formed within each of the jars, the love jar, the hate jar, to see what it would look like. And the higher vibrational jars had really beautiful crystals that had formed, and the lower vibrational stuff had like all these sludgy type of crystals, looked like swamp water. You can go check it out, Dr. Emoto, and check out all of his experiments with water. It's really cool. But you're doing the same thing in your house. Doesn't matter what it is. With any object, you're imprinting energy onto it, and you're contributing to the overall vibe of your own environment. So if you have things in your house that you do not like, throw them away. Don't walk past them and go, I hate that. That's ugly. I hate that wall. I hate this. I hate the cushions. I hate the couch. Just get new. If you're in a position to get new stuff, or, find a way to make it more appealing for you, and that will make a big difference to your own space as well. But the other types of entities, so shadow entities in particular, so these can be things that are nondescript, and it can literally just be like a shadow. Looks like a shadow. It can be a line of energy, like a piece of string, kind of going from one place to another within a property. Can be all sorts of things. Can be, I've seen like no idea what it was either. That looks like, you think about like a cricket, or like like a spider or something like that, which it wasn't, but you know, those creepy crawly type of insects. I've seen some of those in properties. What looks like slime. It's also on the outside of the house, not just within the house. All sorts of stuff. It can be anything. There's so many different things within a space, and every property has been different too. No one property has been the same. So be mindful and be aware of different types of energies that can be around you within that electromagnetic field and how they can disrupt you. If you feel suddenly off, then there's a reason for it. Okay, so I want to talk to you about shadow energies. And so we've spoken about the entities, different types of entities that you will find around you that are part of this electromagnetic field that you're interacting with all the time. And part of that is like the shadow energies, shadow frequency. Shadow energy, if you look at this map of consciousness, so anything that is a low frequency is considered shadow energy. And this map of consciousness has a whole range, you've probably seen this before, has a range of energies from enlightenment right down to shame, guilt and shame, all the way down the bottom. And so enlightenment is very expansive energy. You feel light, and because you hold more light if you're in that kind of energy, light and vibrant and spacious. And those lower emotions like guilt and shame, they help you contract, feel small. You start to feel heavier, just energetically heavier, that is. And like something is weighing you down. If you get that sense, it's like shadow energy. So usually like when people have like an energy healing session, and if you've had like a Reiki session done before, then you'll be able to relate to this. Afterwards, you feel lighter. It's because something has shifted. There's been some lower density energies that have left your space, and now you're holding more light, and that is why you feel lighter. So that's a map of consciousness that kind of maps out what these are and the frequencies that go along with them. So shame has a low frequency of 20, where enlightenment is, 700 to 1,000. I don't know how this was measured, but that's how it works on this scale. And when you're in like these lower lower vibrations, you feel like you're just getting by. There's a sense of unfulfillment. Things are tough. Could be struggling a little bit, suffering in some way. There are all these types of feelings. Whereas if you're living in higher vibrational states, things are easy. Things show up serendipitously for you, if you're trying to manifest something, things show up faster. And because you're more open and expansive and light filled, which is when you are light filled, you are filled with more of who you are as a soul. You're filled with more of the light of your higher self, of source, of God, whatever you want to refer to it as. You're filled with more of that. You become full of yourself, which is what you want to be. You want to be full of yourself, You don't want to be less of yourself. You want to be full of you. So I encourage you to be full of yourself, So, okay. What does this mean? This means, let me go back over here. Okay, so anything that is below neutrality. Neutrality is just kind of even Steven, you're even keel, like Switzerland, right in the middle. You don't feel negatively or bad or positively about anything, or a particular topic, whatever it is, just even keel. Anything below that is considered shadow energy. And if we go, so this is the map of shadow. So I've mapped out a lot of these. Shadow energies and all of those entities and things that are within the electromagnetic field that make you think and feel a certain frequency, make you think and feel a certain way when they impact your field, impact the light waves of your field, I've grouped together into the map of shadow. So the map of shadow, and this is just that bottom section of the map of consciousness. If you look at this map of shadow, so right down the bottom in guilt and shame, like shame, my gosh, can be horrified about things. Really feel undeserving, like you don't deserve to have certain things. You have to struggle to achieve. Some people are more worthy than you are, maybe. That's something else that you might have going on. Sadness is another one. And you can kind of want to withdraw. Like, you don't really want to be around people when you're in these kind of heavy, contracted energies. Being around other people can feel really uncomfortable, especially if they're of a higher vibrational frequency. If someone's really happy and you're feeling, really feel like you missed an opportunity and you're, blaming yourself and being really hard on yourself about how you should have done this and you should have done that, all the should haves. If you're kind of going through that and then you come, you go out for lunch with a friend and they're such a happy person, can really like get under your skin, you know. And a lot of people find it surprising that emotions like courage and pride are also considered shadow energy. It's for a very good reason. So if you're in the energy of pride, if someone gives you constructive feedback or, they want to help you in some way, if you're full of pride, you can get really defensive and not want to take that feedback on. No, don't know what they're talking about. And it can kind of limit the way you view the world. It can really limit your potential because you're not willing to see another way of doing things because you have so much pride in what you do and what you know. There's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself. It's not necessarily about that, but you can have a lack of understanding. With great pride comes a lack of understanding and an unwillingness to see things from another perspective. And there is nothing high vibrational about that. And it's that lack of cooperation, not even wanting to go there, not even willing to see what someone else is thinking about something, that sense of superiority, like you know best, that's not high vibrational. So that's why that's in that section as a lower vibrational feeling. And courage as well, having a lot of courage and putting yourself in risky situations where your life could be endangered is not high vibrational either. And you might see this, like if you're familiar with the chakras, like this can be a sign of like a solar plexus imbalance where you have just like complete disregard for your own personal safety. And thrill seekers are a really good example of this. Like they will put themselves in really dangerous situations because they like the rush. They like the adrenaline. They're not concerned with what can happen to them. They're not concerned that they can die. And they will happily put themselves in dangerous situations. And for the thrill of it, And I couldn't do that. It just makes sense to me. But, each to their own. But it can really feel like that can be tied to a lack of self-care. Courage and forcing yourself. If you don't feel ready to do something, but you're showing great courage and doing it anyway, that can be really traumatizing to yourself. And you will know if you don't feel ready to do something and you're forcing yourself to. That forcing energy and pushing through is not good. That's low vibrational. And you feel it though. Like you feel contracted when you're in that type of energy. So anyway, if you want to have a look at that particular article and go check out the map of shadow in a little bit more detail, you can. I'm going to put the link to that in the description box too. And why am I telling you this? So I'm telling you about the shadow frequencies that are there and the different bands and frequencies that they operate in because these entities and energies that are around you all the time often work like in communities. So you'll have different types of entities that all kind of congregate under the frequency of courage. They all, that's their objective, is to make you feel all these different emotions that get kind of grouped together under the energy of courage. That's their job. That's where they play, and that is their specialty. And then, but you can also find that these communities of entities will work together. Like often guilt and shame work really well together. And then apathy will kind of come along and go, yeah, you know what? I can't be bothered with this. Like, it's just pointless. What's the use? I've tried so many times before. I'm just going to mess up. I should have done so many things right before and I never get it right. You place a lot of blame even, like blaming other people for your circumstances in life. What's the point? Like, I wasn't given a great education. What's the point in me, aiming higher, finding excuses for things, feeling really bored and agitated? Like, these energies can band together and you can start creating some really concrete stories about why these energies are true for you in your life. It's really heavy stuff. Like, especially, we start accumulating this like from childhood. We start buying into these things. We start picking up and imprinting the shadow energies and frequencies like of people around us, because we don't know what we're doing. We don't remember that we're a creative being having a physical experience. We don't remember any of that stuff. We don't remember that we know how to work with electromagnetics and that we have free will and we can command things in our reality and decide to change things, change and reprogram ourselves to experience life differently. We don't remember this stuff. So be really mindful of that. Why am I telling you this? I'll tell you that in a minute, how you can clear some of this stuff. Shadow energy in action. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. What's that? Where's bad memory? Shadow energy in action. How's that? Telling you something. See how shadow energy wants to interfere so that you don't get the information that you need to know today. Isn't that interesting? I find that interesting, and I'm not up for that. I'm just going to stop the recording of this and go and sort this out. But then I'll be back. So this is interesting. A few things going on, but the other thing I just wanted to say as far as shadow entities go is that there's a hierarchy to them. The communities of them have different hierarchies as well. And just as you have, like, if you think of spirit guides, angels, archangels, ascended masters, and that particular hierarchy that exists within the light, there's also corresponding frequencies and hierarchy in the shadow frequencies. Isn't that interesting that that's the part that I completely went blank on? Anyway, so just be mindful of that it's vast. This electromagnetic field that is full of vibrational frequencies around you is enormous. You can't perceive everything that's there with your physical senses, but your feelings and the way that you are thinking about the world, thinking and feeling, is an indication of what's around you in your electromagnetic field. Always, always, always. And there is a hierarchy to it. And the good news is that you have some free will in all of this. You're not like, you don't have to, you're in a position where you can't do anything about it. What is going on? The words are not coming out. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so what can you do about these entities, anything that's low vibrational that's impacting you? What can you do about it? That is a fantastic question. And you can actually do quite a lot because you have this amazing thing called free will and you get to use it anytime you want to. So it's really important, right, when it comes to, regardless of what it is, regardless of what's impacting you specifically, what's really important is that you're able to identify how it makes you feel, what feeling it is. So if you can identify the feeling, you can instruct that that feeling is no longer part of your electromagnetic field. You can give that instruction. You can give that command that you want that to go. And there can be like different layers to a particular feeling. There can be different reasons why you might feel annoyed, frustrated, angry about the world. They're all different types of underlying anger. And like you would have noticed in the map of shadow, there's so many different categories of guilt and shame. And that's only some. Like I put them on a diagram so that it's easier to see, like as visually what's there. But there's heaps, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lower vibrational emotions, and each within all those bands of categories. If you can identify which ones within them, you can start to unravel them. And this is where it's really powerful. It's like that Jenga block, or the Jenga the game, and you've got that tower, and if you pull out a piece right at the bottom, if you go back to the very first time that you first experienced that particular feeling, you can bring down the whole tower. Bring it down. You create your own tower moment. Boom, the tower comes crashing down, And then you get to start again. You get to choose how you want to think and feel instead of what was there. So you bring down this tower and you get to rebuild. You get to rebuild yourself to be more high vibrational, and happier, just happier in general, which is really cool. So identifying the feelings and emotions that are there is really, really key to that. So you can give that instruction, start giving commands about what you want to see changed. And I've tried to take some like shortcuts to speed things up a little bit. And because I can identify, like, I don't want to feel particular ways about certain things, don't like that feeling. I'm happy to let that go. And do like kind of a blanket like request. So anything that you might decide that you want to try this for yourself, it doesn't really do anything. It probably does, but it's not impactful, I don't think, anyway. You might try a blanket kind of statement that any lower vibrational feeling, you want that to go. And like, that's okay too. But like, where do you start? You've got to kind of pick a starting off point. And then once you start, all of those interlocking energies, all of those communities of shadow that are supporting each other, they begin to break down. The foundation, because once they start working together and interlocking like within your own field, they become foundational for you. So once you start pulling them out, you break that foundation in a lot of ways and transmuting it. You're transmuting this energy, converting it from these shadow frequencies into something else, something of a hyper frequency. So as you're doing that, it's very, very powerful. And you get to reshape and remodel the foundation of who you are as a person. It's a great, powerful skill to have, which is why I really like alchemy work, which I did not expect for the life of me. But this is my forte. I'm a metaphysical transformation coach. So I help people transform their lives and I get metaphysical to do it, And alchemy is my favorite metaphysical way to get rid of the stuff that is not who you are. Because I want you to be full of yourself. I want to be full of myself. So anything that is not that can leave. Same as the space around you in properties where you live. Anything that is not high vibrational can leave. That's how I see it. So when I look at properties for my clients, I ask to see anything that is not high vibrational, anything that does not belong within their space, it's not in the highest interests of this family, for their well-being, for whatever it is, like all the ways that they want to think and feel about the world. Anything that's not a match for that, I want to see it because I'm going to clear it. And doesn't matter what it is. Like I've mentioned some kind of bizarre stuff. And I can't actually remember if I mentioned the Fae or not. I can't remember. But just on that, like the with the Fae, the fairies and the brownies and pixies and the elves, all that stuff, they're actually very real. I didn't think they were real until I started clearing properties, but they're real. And they can impact you too. And not all of them are kind of negative. They can be cheeky and mischievous and play tricks on you just for fun. They can be very protective. They can romanticize a whole bunch of stuff, right? But they don't always blow in your face either. And the energy does not have boundaries. Energy is free to move wherever energy wants to go. So you can control your space and command things to leave. You can transmute or alchemize anything within a space that you don't want it to be there. You can help earthbound spirits to cross over. You can do that. Like these aren't magical abilities, to do this sort of stuff. So if you want to know how to do that in a lot more detail, I'll teach you how to do that in the workshops coming up in June. So you can go and check that out as part of the Metaphysical Edge live stream. And go and have a look at that. And one of the really cool things, so identifying the feelings to shift this stuff out, identifying the feelings that you're having that are low vibrational. If you start to personify them, and by that I just mean like identify that this is not you. So say you get really angry about something. The minute you can identify that it's not you, that is making you feel that way, like you're not an angry person. It's just energy. It's just some shadow energy that's in your field that you can do something about. You stop associating with it and you stop making it part of who you are, like there's something wrong with you, because there might not be. It's just energy. You can move it around, You can transmute it, alchemize it, convert it into something that you like better, which is what I really like about energy. It's so dynamic. You can do whatever you like with it. There's no limits to this stuff of how you can play with energy. It just depends on what you can imagine, really. So yeah, you can do that, personify it. And one thing that I like to tell my clients to do when they're first kind of getting their head around this stuff is give it a name. If they always have kind of this negative self-talk when they go to try a new thing, or they're aiming for something and they notice that little voice going, no, it's not going to work, you're not really cut out for it, personify it, give it a name, call it Bob. If you get really angry, call the anger Bob. Shut up, Bob. Like, we're talking about Bob. And reinforce all the ways that you want to think and feel about the world. Reinforce what you know to be true for yourself. And the minute you do that, you start to detach from that energy and just detach from identifying these shadow frequencies as who you are. They're not who you are. Like I can pick up this pen and the pen is connected to me. I use pens a lot as examples, probably because they're on my desk. But so I can pick up this pen and it's connected to me, but it is not part of me. And I can let it go anytime I want to and put it down, throw it away, do whatever I like. because it's not part of me. These heavy emotions are no different. You can throw them away, do what you like with them, personify them. Just doesn't feel that easy because we might have a lot of stories and things about why these energies are true and why you've aligned to them. You can just unravel them as well, which is also what I'm going to teach people how to do in this training that's coming up. But if you don't want to come to the training, that's cool too. You can still do some things on your own. So personifying it and making that a habit where you don't indulge in whatever Bob's telling you is a really great way. The other way is to move around. Like aerobic exercise can dislodge shadow energies in your field really quickly, and like dancing, going for a walk, jogging. If you're a runner, go for a run. A lot of people who go for a run find that it clears their mind. They're able to think a lot better. That's because if you have like some shadow energy in your field, it can dislodge really, really easily during that aerobic activity. So that's a really powerful way to go about that too. But what I really want you to know more than anything is that all of this stuff is a shadow frequency. Like none of these heavy feelings are you. And I think it's such a like relief in many ways. Like you can change anything about yourself. You can repattern and rewire anything about yourself. And one, to feel better, but when you do that too, you naturally, if you remember that, like the map of consciousness, as you start to break down all of those shadow frequencies that are within the map of consciousness, as you start to break them down, you naturally are in a higher vibrational state. You naturally become a happier person because nothing's bothering you anymore. You don't have these thoughts going on all day long and these emotions coming up that make you feel a particular way. So that's really cool. You just naturally become a high vibrational person once this stuff moves out of the way. And you can do that for yourself. And when you do that, manifestation becomes so much easier. Achieving your goals becomes easier. You become a lot happier person in general. And then you're in that flow and synchronicity of life where like you feel like you can speak things into existence. And I would love for you to experience that because it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's where like you think about things, you can maybe work with energy in the moment, which is a little bit different metaphysical type of, I suppose, not skill, but technique. Let's call it a technique. We can work with energy in the moment to create an outcome that you want to see for yourself, like that instant manifestation. Things happening, create circumstances, using the energies around you. Like you get to interact with this stuff and you're made to do it and you are made to create profound transformation in your life if that's something that you really want to achieve for yourself. And so whatever's going on for you, and if there is something you want to change, just know that wherever you're at, you don't need to be a spiritual person in any way, shape, or form to do this work. You just need to be you, and you need to have just an intention that you want to get rid of it. You want to clear it. You want to be seeing things from a different perspective. You want to be in a higher vibration. You want to be able to manifest things with a lot of ease, a lot of grace, a lot of fun, joy, happiness. You want to play more, laugh more, all that sort of stuff. But that's your call. You have free will and you get to use it. You don't have to use it. Like that's your choice. But yeah, you can change, rewire anything about yourself on the inside. And when you do that, your beliefs will change, and your experiences and how you show up in the world and everything around you will change as well, because your beliefs create your reality. And when you change things at such a foundational level, your reality has no choice but to shift. And the best way for it to shift is if you create it, which is amazing. So I'm going to put a couple of links in there, and happy clearing. Don't take the shadow energies on, because they're not who you are. Do something about them and take back your power. Take back your light. Become full of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me on Unmasking the Magic. Today's journey has been a glimpse into the power of blending the mystical with the material world. And there is so much more to dive into so that you can explore your own metaphysical gifts to create unparalleled success and fulfillment in your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love to hear from you. And please share this with anyone you know who will benefit from adding a little magic to their own life. Keep unmasking your magic, and I'll see you next time.